Today, China is trying to seize the automotive market from Western countries and is innovating in ways that could transform the entire market in the future. Imagine if an engine were to arrive on the market that was not only powerful, but also so cost-effective that it would give even the biggest EV companies sleepless nights. This isn't some distant dream, nor a concept model languishing in a lab. This technology is now poised to hit the streets, and it's starting in China. While Western companies are still struggling to reduce costs and improve batteries, this new engine quietly stands poised to change the game. The question is it truly powerful enough to disrupt the strategies of Tesla, BYD, or other big names? Will EVs be the be-all and end-all? Or will this new technology change the entire landscape? In today's video, we'll understand the true story of this engine, what kind of technology China is using, and how it's surprising the car industry. Be sure to watch the video until the end. Before proceeding, subscribe to the channel to be the first to see such videos. If you watch any major auto show in the world today, one thing becomes clear. The true story of electric vehicles isn't just about technology, it's about strategy. And China was a leader in this game long ago. It didn't just enter the market by manufacturing EVs, it created the entire field for itself. Today, other countries are struggling to maintain their presence, while China is already several steps ahead. But all this didn't happen suddenly. About 20 to 25 years ago, China's major cities were shrouded in smog, and air quality had become a major problem in cities like Beijing and Shanghai. On top of that, heavy oil imports were putting pressure on the country's economy. At that time, China realized that if it wanted to secure its future, its energy system would have to change. This is where electric mobility was seen as a long-term plan. Initially, no one believed that electric cars would reach the masses. Batteries were expensive, range was limited, and charging facilities were almost non-existent. But the government took the risk. In 2001, under the 863 program, massive investments began in the clean tech and high-tech sectors. Later, the new energy vehicle, INEV, policy was introduced, promoting battery, electric, plug-in hybrid, and fuel cell vehicles. People received subsidies, companies received tax relief, and then gradually, the market environment began to change. The most interesting step was that China focused more on public transportation than on cars for the general public. Shenzhen is a prime example of this. This city set a goal of converting its entire bus fleet to electric, and by 2017, it had converted nearly 16,000 buses to electric. This wasn't just a transformation of one city. It was a message that large-scale electrification was possible. It reduced pollution and gave confidence to other cities. Following this, in 2017, the dual credit system was implemented. Under this rule, car companies were required to produce a certain number of EVs. If they didn't meet the target, they had to buy credits from other companies. This left companies with two options: either make electric vehicles or suffer losses, and the result was a rapid rise in local brands, increased production, and reduced costs. During this time, China built another strong barrier: charging infrastructure. Today, millions of charging stations exist across the country. In major cities, finding a charging point is as easy as finding a petrol pump. This significantly reduced people's fear of range anxiety. Only when you're confident you'll find a charge on the way. Do you feel comfortable deciding to buy an electric vehicle? China first built this confidence, then sold the vehicles. Now comes the real power, the battery. The lifeblood of an EV is its battery, and China has a strong foothold on this front. Companies like CATL and BYD not only meet domestic needs, but also supply batteries to Europe and the United States. But when you have control over battery manufacturing and the supply chain, your voice automatically becomes stronger throughout the industry. This is why China's strategy isn't limited to car manufacturing. It has established control over the entire chain, from raw materials to the final vehicle. Today, the share of EVs in new car sales in China has often reached around 40%. Until a few years ago, this figure seemed like a fantasy. But targeted policies, subsidies, and massive investment have made it a reality. Now, Chinese companies are no longer limited to their own country. They are rapidly expanding into other markets in Europe, Latin America, and Asia, and in many places, directly, challenging traditional brands. See? China's powerful motor engine. Technology. Imagine an electric car engine so powerful and affordable that it could disrupt the entire EV industry. Before we delve into that, let's understand BYD a little. This company is currently transforming the game in China. BYD is no ordinary car company. It doesn't just manufacture vehicles, but also produces batteries, motors, control systems, and many other key components. This is its greatest strength. When a company controls everything from the battery to the final car, costs are automatically reduced. And when costs are low, it becomes easier to keep the car affordable. Now the question arises, how is BYD able to launch such affordable EVs? The first answer is vertical integration. Many companies source batteries, motors, and assembly takes place at a different location. However, BYD's famous Blade battery is manufactured in-house. It's based on LFP, lithium iron phosphate technology, and it doesn't require expensive materials like cobalt, keeping costs low. It's also considered safety, enhancing as it's less prone to fire. Another major reason is scale. BYD produces millions of vehicles. When production scales up, the cost per unit decreases. This is why the company launches EVs in the budget segment, without cutting down on features. Now, let's talk about the powerful motor that has shaken the market. BYD uses a permanent magnet synchronous motor, PMSM, in its vehicles. This motor delivers high power and torque in a small size. One advantage of an electric motor is that full torque is delivered immediately. While petrol or diesel engines take time to generate power, in an EV, all the power is delivered to the wheels as soon as the accelerator is pressed. And this is why many BYD models accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just a few seconds, faster than many gasoline engines. Take the BYD Seal, for example. Its dual motor variant delivers enough power to deliver sports sedan-like performance. It balances fast acceleration, stable handling, and long range. The BYD Atto 3, meanwhile, is an SUV that's comfortable for a family, yet not lacking in power. It's a good choice for both city and highway use. In the budget segment, the BYD Seagull is a small but stunning vehicle. The price is low, but the motor isn't so weak that it's a problem in everyday use. The question now is, can these motors truly be more powerful than gasoline engines? The answer is simple, yes, in many cases. Gasoline engines have the hassle of gear shifts, RPM, and power curves. However, our electric motors deliver power directly and instantly. With fewer moving parts, energy loss is also reduced. This is why even a small motor can deliver performance comparable to, or even better than, a larger gasoline engine. BYD has paid special attention to another aspect, electronic control systems. The inverter and power management systems are finely tuned to utilize the motor's full potential at the right time. Furthermore, technologies like the company's e-Platform 3.0 optimally integrate the battery, motor, and chassis. This reduces weight, improves balance, and increases efficiency. To compare the three models simply, the Seagull is for those seeking an affordable compact EV for city use. The Atto 3 is a mid-range family SUV with more space and comfort. The Seal is for those seeking both style and speed. Though all three share the same technology base, but power and features vary according to needs. The secret to BYD's success isn't just low prices. It's a combination of technology, mass production, and control over the entire supply chain. This is why the company is able to deliver motors at low prices that outperform many conventional gasoline engines. This has become a real challenge for the entire EV industry. How is China engaged in battery technology? If the world is witnessing the biggest battery technology race, China isn't just participating. It's striving to lead. The level of investment and research China has put into electric vehicle batteries over the past 15 to 20 years is comparable to that of very few other countries. First, understand that China doesn't consider batteries to be just a component. but rather the backbone of the entire industry. The real strength of an EV is the battery, not the engine. Range, price, safety, and performance all depend on it. Therefore, China focused on battery manufacturing from the very beginning. Today, one of the world's largest battery companies is KTL, which supplies batteries to many global automakers. Similarly, BYD also manufactures its own batteries. China has worked on two major fronts. First, reducing costs. Second, improving technology. For example, LFP, lithium iron phosphate battery technology. Previously, most companies relied on NMC, nickel manganese cobalt batteries, which are expensive because materials like cobalt are rare and costly. China improved LFP, making them both cheaper and safer. LFP batteries are considered more resistant to overheating, so their use in common EVs has rapidly increased. In addition, China has also gained control over the supply chain. Battery manufacturing requires not only factories, but also lithium, graphite, and other raw materials. China invested in mining projects in regions like Africa and South America to ensure raw materials reach its companies directly. This gave it control over both costs and supply. Now, let's talk research. Several Chinese companies are working on solid-state batteries. These are considered the next generation of batteries, which can have higher energy density and shorter charging times. This technology has not yet been fully commercialized, but China is rapidly advancing in this field. Work is also underway on fast-charging technology, batteries that can charge large quantities in 10 to 15 minutes. Another significant aspect is scale. So, China not only developed the technology, but also implemented it on a large scale. Battery gigafactories with thousands of megawatts of capacity were built. When production is this large, costs automatically fall. This is why Chinese EV prices often appear lower than those of other companies. The support of the Chinese government has also been a major factor. Subsidies, tax breaks, and research funding allowed companies to take risks. Even when battery technology was expensive in the early stages, companies continued to operate because of government support. The hidden environmental cost of EV battery production. Whenever we talk about electric vehicles, we often hear that these vehicles will reduce pollution, eliminate petrol and diesel, and help fight climate change. This is largely true. But there's another side to the story that isn't as openly talked about. The true environmental cost of producing EV batteries. The lifeblood of an electric car is its battery, and making that battery requires minerals like lithium, cobalt, and nickel. These are mined underground. Sounds straightforward, but the process is actually quite cumbersome and resource-intensive. For example, extracting lithium requires a lot of water. In some areas, millions of liters of water are used to extract a single ton of lithium. In areas already facing water scarcity, this directly impacts local people and agriculture. This problem has been observed in parts of South America and China. Then comes cobalt. A large portion of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of the Congo in Africa. Mining there leads to deforestation, to soil degradation, and water contamination. This means that while an EV may not emit smoke, its battery manufacturing process is not entirely green. China's role here is significant because it is a leader in battery manufacturing. Companies like CATL and BYD supply batteries to EV companies worldwide. When production is so large, the demand for raw materials is equally high. And when demand grows rapidly, so does the pressure on mining. The industry is no longer sitting idle. Emphasis is being placed on battery recycling. In China, large recycling plants have been set up to extract lithium and other valuable materials from used EV batteries. The effort is to create a closed-loop system. That is, the material from old batteries is reused in new batteries. This may reduce the need for new mining to some extent. But it is not a complete solution, as EV demand is growing so rapidly that recycling alone will not suffice. Another approach is being adopted: second life batteries. Even when an EV battery no longer provides enough power for a car, it is not completely useless. In China, experiments are underway to use these batteries in large energy storage systems. These systems help store solar and wind energy. This increases battery life and reduces the need for raw materials. But the environment isn't the only concern. Labor conditions associated with cobalt mining are also a major issue. Reports of child labor and unsafe working conditions have surfaced repeatedly in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As the world moves toward electric vehicles, the question arises, is this transition coming at a human cost? The countries and companies involved in the battery supply chain are now under pressure to demonstrate greater transparency and practice responsible sourcing. Many Chinese companies are now trying to reduce their dependence on cobalt. LFP lithium iron phosphate batteries are a step in this direction as they do not require cobalt. This also reduces costs and reduces dependence on the controversial material. Yet, the truth is a bit harsh. As the demand for EVs grows rapidly, so too does the need for resources. Every new electric car means more mining, more water consumption, and more pressure on the regions where these minerals are extracted. This doesn't mean that EVs are the wrong direction. Rather, it's a reminder that the path to a green future isn't entirely clear and easy. To truly achieve a sustainable future, battery technology must become cleaner, more recyclable, and less resource-intensive. Otherwise, while reducing pollution on the roads, we could be creating a new problem underground. China's impact on the global auto market. If you look at the global auto market today, one thing is clear. Chinese cars are no longer limited to China. Previously, made-in-China cars were taken for granted. But today, these same cars have reached Europe, Asia, Latin America, and even Australia. The question is, how are Chinese companies maneuvering the global market in their favor? First, let's talk about pricing. The biggest strength of Chinese companies is their high cost. More features at a lower cost. When a customer sees that they're getting a long range, a large screen, advanced safety features, the end of good design at a low price, they prioritize value over brand name. This is the strategy adopted by companies like BYD. They launched affordable yet technology-rich EVs, encouraging even ordinary customers to consider purchasing an electric car. The second major reason is battery control. Chinese companies like CATL supply batteries to the world's major automakers. When you have a strong hold on battery technology, you can better manage both pricing and supply. This is why Chinese EVs are often cheaper than European or American brands. Now, let's discuss the countries Chinese companies have entered. In Europe, companies like BYD, MG, now Chinese-owned, and NIO are rapidly gaining ground. Chinese EV sales are increasing in countries like Germany, France, the Netherlands, Norway, and the UK. Especially in Norway, where demand for EVs is already high, Chinese brands have received a good response. China has also made significant inroads in Latin America. Chinese electric buses and cars are already running in countries like Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia. Price is a major factor in these countries, and Chinese companies capitalize on this advantage. Greater range at a lower price. China's hold is even stronger in Asia. Chinese companies are expanding their presence in markets like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and India. Some are selling their vehicles directly, while others are setting up factories with local partners to reduce import taxes and further reduce prices. Sales of brands like MG and BYD have also increased in Australia and New Zealand. Customers here look for both technology and value. German Chinese companies offer this combination. The question now is, are these companies simply relying on low prices, or are they also improving quality? The truth is, the quality of Chinese cars has improved significantly over the past few years. European-style design, modern interiors, and software updates over the air, all these features have become commonplace. This means China isn't just offering affordable cars, but also smart cars. Another major strategy is local production. Chinese companies are preparing to set up or have already set up factories in several countries. This has two benefits. First, it increases government confidence. Second, customers feel that the brand isn't just importing, but contributing to the local economy. Additionally, Chinese companies rapidly launch new models in the EV segment. While traditional companies typically run a single model for several years, Chinese companies release updates and new versions every year. This keeps the market buoyant. But the path isn't entirely smooth. Security and data privacy concerns have been raised in some countries. Chinese EVs face challenges entering markets like the US. Nevertheless, their pace in Europe and Asia hasn't slowed. Chinese vehicles are adapting to the global market through three key initiatives: low prices, robust battery technology, and rapid innovation. Furthermore, by establishing local partnerships and factories, they are positioning themselves as local brands, not foreign. Today, Chinese companies are not just competing, but are also changing the rules in many markets. Solid-state batteries, China's next leap in EV technology. As if the biggest question in the world of electric vehicles today were to be asked, it would be, what will be the next major revolution? Most EVs currently in use are equipped with lithium-ion batteries. These perform well, but they also have limitations. Charging time, safety, and range are limited. This is where solid-state batteries are emerging, and China is rapidly advancing this technology. First, let's explain what a solid-state battery is. Today's batteries contain a liquid electrolyte, a liquid chemical that conducts current from one place to another. In solid-state batteries, this function is performed by a solid material. This may seem like a small change, but it can actually make a significant difference. The biggest advantage is its higher energy density, meaning more power can be stored in a battery of the same size. If this technology becomes fully successful, the range of EVs could increase significantly. While a range of 400 to 500 kilometers is considered a given today, a range of 700 to 800 kilometers, or even more, could be possible with solid-state batteries. This could significantly eliminate range anxiety. Another major advantage is safety. Batteries with liquid electrolyte are prone to overheating and fire, and especially in the event of an accident or short circuit. Solid electrolyte can reduce this risk. This means the battery can be more and safe. Now, the question arises, where does China stand in this? China is already a global leader in battery manufacturing. Companies like CATL and BYD are playing a major role in lithium-ion batteries. Now, these companies and several startups are researching solid-state technology. The Chinese government is also providing funding and support in this direction, recognizing that mastering next-generation batteries will further strengthen its position in the EV market. China's strategy is not limited to laboratory research. China is striving to bring solid-state batteries to commercial production as quickly as possible. This means not just prototypes, but mass production. This is its strength, scale. So, if China takes a technology to the industrial level, costs drop rapidly. However, it's also true that solid-state batteries are not yet a fully developed technology. They face many challenges. Materials are expensive, the production process is complex, and longevity life cycle remains to be proven. But China is continuously working on these challenges. According to some reports, vehicles equipped with solid-state batteries may enter the market in a limited number of years. They will be expensive initially, but if China can produce them on a large scale, the price could gradually decrease as it did with lithium-ion batteries. It's not just about range or safety. Solid-state batteries can make EVs lighter, providing more power in a smaller size. This could also improve vehicle performance, faster acceleration, better balance, and then shorter charging times. All these benefits can add up. Looking at the bigger picture, solid-state batteries represent not just a technology, but a strategic opportunity for China. Currently, many countries, the US, Japan, and Europe are competing in the EV industry. But if China takes the lead in next-generation batteries, its global dominance will be further strengthened. Solid-state batteries could be the next big step in the EV world, and China is poised to take this step first and on a large scale. The race is still ongoing, but if China successfully implements its old strategy, research plus government support plus mass production, again, the next chapter of EV technology may belong to it. To receive powerful information on technology and EVs in simple language, subscribe to the channel now to be the first to see every new update and stay ahead.